Good, 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 good. We're just going right into it. I am mega early, uh, for once. I just felt like doing it, just letting it rip today. Um, Welcome back to the stream. I came across some. I went looking for some other voice training exercises last night, or I guess yesterday evening. Wasn't quite what you would consider like nighttime. It was like a little bit after dinner. And I found one that was kind of interesting. Um, where for it kind of works both ways for both feminizing and masculinizing your voice, but it's called the Key O exercise. Where you say, if you want to feminize your voice, you start with the word key and you focus on the shape that makes in your mouth. Same thing with masculinizing your voice. You simply say the word "o" and you focus on the shape that makes in your mouth, like your muscles. How does your throat uh, uh, flex to produce that sound? Where does your tongue sit? You know how much sound is coming through your mouth as a result of that. And then it's like, okay, so then you basically try to hold that when you say other things too. Which I guess is like not that different from what I was already kind of doing. Um, but they did since this was like a professional voice training teacher, a professional voice teacher doing this, they gave some examples of like a short phrase that you might say using this technique. And of course, they're very practiced. But one thing I noticed, it was kind of difficult to practice, but I kept repeating it. I kept repeating the word throughout the evening, key, key, um, to try to apply that to other things that I'm saying. But I noticed that, like, if I did it exactly the way that this professional voice training teacher said, it would kind of like, sure, I have no doubt that relying on that exercise would uh, feminize my voice pretty consistently. But I feel like it's a particular kind of feminization that would make it sound like I always have a bubble in my throat, which I don't want. Um, but that's not to say it wasn't like useful or anything. I did learn from it how to like what kind of voice I should be uh, aiming towards. And again, it's like kind of reminded me that you don't necessarily need to pitch shift your voice upwards. You know, it kind of like in my brain, it kind of made the difference click, the difference between pitch and resonance, you know, where like two people could have the same pitch of voice, like their voice could have the same depth, but one would sound a lot more masculine and one would sound a lot more feminine, you know? I don't know, it was something I started, thinking about. Um, yeah. Anyways, I've only got 2 things, written down on my list for the live stream today, and I, realized, like, I I I fall back into this pattern sometimes where I feel a lot of pressure to put out YouTube segments and stuff. Um, but I realize, like, I don't have to do that. I'm already not getting paid for this. I don't have to treat it like it's something where there's the amount of pressure that I am getting paid for it. So I can actually do whatever I want. I can simply not make a video segment if I don't feel like it, which I don't. And you know, those tier list videos are still releasing, and those can carry the channel for a little while. My voice, when I hear it through a device, sounds like I never went through puberty. My voice has the opposite problem I've felt, where coming out of my mouth, like when my voice comes out of my mouth, it sounds like pretty gender neutral in some respects. But when I listen to it back through, uh, like my headphones, like when I'm editing a video, it sounds like a little bit more masculine. It sounds a little bit deeper, you know? I used to feel the other way around though. When I was certainly when I was younger, when my voice was just starting to deepen, and I would listen to a recording of my voice for like either for fun or for school or for whatever, it would sound awkward in that kind of way. Anywho, for whatever reason, I'm in a lot better of a mood today than I was yesterday. I think maybe I'm turning around on this schedule of streaming Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. My assumption was that I would have to do so much video editing on such a different schedule, but I guess I don't. If I don't feel like I want to make a video out of something, I can just not. You know. I mean, it's not like the streams disappear forever once I've stopped doing them. Like once I stop streaming for a day, like the VODs stay on Twitch for a while, and I upload all the VODs to YouTube. They're permanently available on this big playlist of every live stream I've ever done, and the playlist is public, but the videos themselves are unlisted. So. Yeah, luckily this is not me having a gun pointed to my head, like your typical kind of white collar work arrangement. Nonetheless, also it is really funny to me that some people will make fun of streamers for like never having had a job. And I feel like those people just don't understand what work is, you know? I don't even feel the need to address the central claim like, "Oh, you've never held a regular job." These people don't know me. Um and like live streaming and making video content for YouTube, for Twitch, for whatever, that is work. It's a different kind of work. I feel like what people take issue with when streamers do their thing is that their lives are like maybe better than somebody who would be doing the same kind of work under less creatively free circumstances. I'm free to choose whatever I do on stream. I can do whatever I want on stream, right? Yeah, literally, it's just, plenty of people understand, like everybody understands that being a pundit is work. Being an entertainer, public speaking is work. Video editing, video production, graphic design, social media management is all work. Everybody knows this, not the least of which the people that make fun of live streamers for never like working a day in their lives, allegedly. It is literally just, you're not suffering the adequate amount while doing work. So I'm going to say that the work you're doing is illegitimate. It's the Protestant work ethic again. The Protestant work ethic is gooning. They are just ideologically pro-suffering and anti-release. It's the same activity. The only difference is the amount of emotional satisfaction and alienation. Like streaming, much less alienating, although less stable, less alienating than video editing for a production company or for a firm that puts out like video promotion materials or graphic design or whatever. All of this stuff The only difference between like a 9 to 5 and this is the amount of alienation and suffering, which is higher in a 9 to 5, and you get way the fuck less emotional satisfaction from a 9 to 5. It's the same work. In fact, this is significantly harder than the job I actually worked. Like, this is more difficult. I'm not going to be one of those people that says streaming is a difficult job. It's only as difficult as you make it. I may have made it more difficult on myself than I needed to, but I worked harder, which again does not speak to the moral legitimacy of streaming as a profession or as like doing work. But the job I worked, like for about a year, was way less difficult than this. Yeah, they like, because these people are ideological goons. They are gooners. They are economic gooners. Um, they don't want to complain to the authority because their ideology revolves around submitting to that and denying themselves any sort of liberatory release, any sort of creative joy in life, you know? So yeah, they go and complain to other people who are in a relatively similar situation to them, but are not suffering as much. Type shit. This is not me saying that if you work a 9 to 5, I'm better than you. This is me saying if you make fun of people for not working a 9 to 5, I am better than you. If you view somehow working a regular 9 to 5 for a living as like a moral mark of character, you are bad at being a human being. X-Men 97, Magneto said people have competitions for who's the best victim. Yeah, you know how like sometimes leftists will do that purity test where they'll do oppression Olympics, which group has it worse? This is just that for straight people. The straight people, the straight version of the oppression Olympics and the victimhood competition is making fun of people who don't have a job or are like live streamers or whatever and aren't suffering as much as they themselves are. You know? I fucking hate these people. To the extent that I even think about this. Which, you know, not going to say that I don't, because obviously I just talked about it. I think about it sometimes. But yeah. I'm mostly just kind of buying time right now too, because like I said, I only have 2 things written down. There are more things that happened, but if there's something you want me to talk about, please provide a link, because like I said, I've made streaming much more difficult for myself than it needs to be. And part of that is me having to go and compile a bunch of links to news stories that I want to talk about that I have in my head, but have to have a link to go to, you know? Like, oh yeah, remember to talk about like this and this and this. And on that subject, first up, y'all heard about Rob Rayner? He died recently. Rob Rayner, probably some of the young heads don't know. Esteemed actor, director, film writer, like dude was a lot of things. But what I know him for is he made The Princess Bride, which is a very well liked comedy movie. That was I think it was made in the 80s. And it's popular among a particular age demographic of people. Here, let me see if I can find the post I'm thinking of. Trump had some choice words for Rob Rayner after he was murdered by his own son. Yeah, it was like it was so bad that even regular news outlets are saying that, like, yeah, Trump has gone too far this time, and like nobody likes him for this. Trump is being criticized by everybody, including Republicans, including his own base, which is, it was kind of confusing at first, like, this is what you picked. But then I realized Rob Reiner is part of like the Hollywood cultural zeitgeist of the 20th century, which is exactly the kind of pop culture that Trump's base cares about. If you know the age demographics of Trump's base, they would be about anywhere from like predominantly in their 40s to like older than my parents. So there's like the Generation X and a little bit into the, you know, the baby boomers too. And this was like right in that era, this movie, The Princess Bride. So, President said Hollywood icon suffered an incurable affliction at the time of his death. Yeah, he said like, oh, Rob Reiner being murdered by his son was actually his fault because Rob Reiner had Trump derangement syndrome and like nobody liked him and that's why he got murked. El Bozo. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. He was way less coherent. But even Politico is softballing. I mean, I'm not really surprised. Politico is owned by a hack Zionist who knows nothing about anything. Some Republicans are pushing back against Donald Trump after he attributed Hollywood director and progressive activist Rob Reiner's death as the likely result of the anger he caused others through Trump derangement syndrome. The Republicans include some who are regular Trump critics, as well as those who serve in battleground districts. This is them saying basically, like, Trump, you have stirred the hornet's nest and your ass is going to get beat in the elections for this. This is the point where his brain damage is interfering. Yeah, it kind of feels like it. It kind of feels that way. Like usually his brain damage and his mental state deteriorating doesn't get in the way of him identifying what his base likes and what they want to hear. But increasingly lately, that has sort of dropped off. Like the most notable recent example outside of this being with the Epstein files, which he campaigned on releasing and then said, don't release them. It's a big old hoax. Right, funny how they talk about future elections, even though Trump doesn't care about the party. Well, the future elections matter, just not to Trump, right? Like, it's pretty normal for them to bring up elections. That's how politics in a liberal democracy works. That's when a transfer of power happens and when the chickens, like, definitively come home to roost in some sense. Of course, assuming that you don't have a functioning legal system that's capable of prosecuting people for crimes if they're politicians, which America doesn't. So, regardless of how you feel about or how you felt about Rob Reiner, this is inappropriate, disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered, said Representative Thomas Massie. Well, he's a regular critic, so from him it doesn't mean as much. But this is why I think this right here is why this was a bridge too far. Rob Reiner directed The Princess Bride, very well liked comedy movie, and Trump's base, all, even if they haven't seen The Princess Bride, have The Princess Bride and Rob Reiner as like points of cultural reference. Trump has insulted their cultural profile. You know, these people, putting aside the fact that they are full of contradictions and actually hate the culture that they like politically hate the culture that they personally really like they'll enjoy shit like The Princess Bride and then they'll spend hours and hours talking shit about how Hollywood is controlled by the liberal elite or whatever. But then they're like, oh yeah, this movie that was produced by a lifelong progressive activist, somebody who under other circumstances they would brand a liberal elite. Yeah, that one's great. We love that. You know? Basically what I'm saying is this just touched a nerve. That's why it was a bridge too far. Where Trump could talk shit about immigrants, trans people, minorities, whatever else, and the cultural zeitgeist generally, and they could say, well, he didn't mean the things that I like. But this is him insulting something and someone very specific that a lot of his base likes. So they're not going to like him for it. Yeah, let's take a look at the Truth Social post. Prepare for mental illness. Very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. I'm not going to do the voice. I'm trying to focus on feminizing my voice. I'm not going to do Trump voice. Fuck your website cookies. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace. So not only did he insult the cultural touchstone of many a MAGA adherent, he also said, like, he was obsessed with me, El Bozo. You know, a profound misread of what his base is like, to the extent that he even really cares, which I think he does, right? One of the few things Trump does care about is the respect, adoration, and applause he receives from his acolytes and supporters. You know? Am I not able to see how many replies there are? Oh, I am actually. 41.9 thousand likes, 35.7 thousand replies. He got ratioed on his own website by his own supporters. You know, it's not the biggest ratio, but the fact that it's directly Donald Trump and not people. I've seen some of the posts, they are directly responding to Trump. And it's not like with the Epstein files where they said somebody in the administration is doing this. That level of abstraction is not available here for them to, for people to run to. This is from the horse's mouth. You know? So, of course, many Republicans have been performatively condemning this. You have some representatives here, Stephanie Bice from Oklahoma, Mike Lawler from New York. Do they mean any of this? Probably not. Maybe they do because these people are of the age that Rob Reiner and The Princess Bride would be cultural touchstones for them as well. But I'm going to come back to what I said about neoliberals and neoconservatives fundamentally just aura farming. This is an instance not just where the right can't aura farm off of Trump anymore, but now where it's expedient for them to aura farm against Trump, aura farm by condemning Trump performatively, both on the left and right. I've never heard of this person until he died. That's probably because you're young and haven't seen The Princess Bride. Just statistically, if I had to guess, I had heard of him because I've seen The Princess Bride, and it's like one of the movies of the era. You know, there's like a comedy trio ranging from cleanest to edgiest that I think of that my parents have as like cultural touchstones for them. At least my dad does. Um, and on the like inoffensive side, it's like it's The Princess Bride. Then you go into territory with Caddyshack, and then you get Blazing Saddles, which coincidentally also has you going backwards in time, where I think The Princess Bride was the 80s, Caddyshack was the mid 70s, and then Blazing Saddles was early 70s. But like I said, imagine if they're like, God, it's kind of hard to think of an equivalent for Zoomers and stuff because 21st century media culture is at a historically fractured moment. Like it's way more fractured than prior generations of media culture. But he was like the guy for a lot of people. He was like the filmmaking guy for a lot of people, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard for me to describe it other than that. Um, I could like I feel like to compare him to a live streamer wouldn't really be doing it justice. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Um, yeah, that shit had me kind of surprised that like this was a bridge too far. Nonetheless, it you know again it's like a hallmark of the MAGA coalition falling apart because now they view it as politically expedient to morally signal against Trump. You know, um, I don't know the extent to which Trump is really aware of this, but you know, it is going to contribute to him losing support still. And I feel like this is going to have something of a cascading effect, right? Trump relied on having a really good barometer of what his base liked and what they didn't like, you know? And that barometer broke once with with the Epstein files. That was the first time I think I've seen that in like ever, where Trump said something that his followers just straight up did not like. And then the second time, this would be the second time I've seen that barometer break, and it's in like 3 months. And I feel like if Trump doesn't adapt, which he's very stubborn and doesn't easily change when something is like poses a direct rhetorical challenge to him like this, I feel like there's going to be more of these moments where Trump is unable to capture the support and cheers of his base any longer. Where it's kind of like this is opening the floodgates. This is not me saying that the right wing is going to decultify. No, they're still a cult. I think Trump is just losing his ability to function as the cult leader. You know, like especially in the wake of the Epstein files and all that, with the MAGA coalition visibly deteriorating, with a lot of Republican infighting, content creators going at each other. The golden goose kind of laid the last egg, and they're gonna have to start the painful process. They've already started of moving on from Trump, from to probably like a Nick Fuentes Groyper type. Probably not Fuentes specifically, but you get the idea. That's what I think is going to happen to the Republican Party. There's going to be a period of turmoil, and they sort of reassemble as more insane far right populists with a renewed charismatic presence, if they can find one. But that's going to be a tall order, I think, especially with how much the right wing eats itself. I think their success entirely hinges on whether or not the Democrats are overtaken by the progressives. If the Democrats are overtaken by like politically competent progressives who are willing to actually not just be fully subservient to capital, then the Republicans probably don't stand a chance. But if the Democrats still just be the Democrats like they've always been, then the Republicans have a very real chance of like coming back in several years' time, I would say. Like I said, 2026 is probably a wash for them in terms of like any sort of policy agenda that they're meaningfully developing. Like I said, Democrats are going to have to work extra hard if they want to lose 2026. That's not something you can give a like percent chance on because the timelines for this are very like vague, non-specific. There are too many variables for anybody to say concretely like how likely it is. All that I know is all that I know is that the progressives are still fighting an uphill battle and that sort of thing. Yeah. I really didn't expect this to be the thing that caused Trump to like hemorrhage even more support. But I guess it did. So on the subject of the Trump administration, uh it's been a pretty well-known fact that Trump has had a handler or like a babysitter, alternatively, depending on whether we're talking about a man or a woman, etc. Uh, so that he doesn't completely lose his filter. Uh, and we also know that it's like the leakiest administration known to man, most transparent by way of like not being able to keep a secret worth a damn. Apparently, his handler couldn't keep a secret either. They did an interview with Vanity Fair where this woman right here, Susie Wiles, said some things that she thought was off the record, but were actually not. And now the news world is unable to ignore all the shit that we already pretty much knew about the Trump administration, that they are like the least competent human beings known to man, and that like all of these ideas that the government has been destroying the country over are like half baked at best. Susie Wiles, J.D. Vance, and the Junkyard Dogs, the White House chief of staff on Trump's second term. Some might say being evil inherently makes you stupider. Yes, I wouldn't necessarily say stupid, but stupider. Yeah. Because again, being evil is defined by very antisocial characteristics, and intelligence is a attribute or set of attributes that you have to constantly exercise and keep up socially. You know, your brain needs to be exercised in the presence of other people. And when evil is antisocial, that leads to a pretty strong correlation between like being evil and being stupid. Though it's not a direct you do still have like really evil people who are pretty smart, and you do still have, you know, good people that are not that smart, you know. Throughout the first year of Trump's second administration, Vanity Fair writer Chris Whipple has interviewed Wiles amid each moment of crisis. The Insider's account joins a portfolio of portraits for an unflinching, up-close look at power and peril. Oh boy. Photographer Christopher Anderson. This is the guy that photographed a bunch of those like young MAGA like 20-somethings at this party where they're like all the modern equivalent of the yuppies from the 80s or whatever, and they all look hideous and inhuman, partially because of this guy's immaculate professional photography skills. Shout out, this guy, true ally of the revolution. I am asking you to keep posting this shit, unironically. Keep taking unflattering photos of the most evil people on planet Earth. Make them look as evil as they are. How long is this interview? Very long. We're seeing some of the photos here. Look, this is the kind of work that Christopher Anderson does. This is Susie Wiles, the enforcer, the architect of Donald Trump's 2024 election victory, now his White House chief of staff, daughter of famous sportscaster Pat Summerall. As Wiles explains, her father was an alcoholic, so she knows how to deal with difficult men with big personalities. I make a specialty of it, she says with a laugh. As the crises of Trump 2.0 pile up, from Signalgate to Revenge and Retribution. Oh yeah, Signalgate, where they literally like just a Signal group chat of government officials talking about top secret shit. To Revenge and Retribution for the Epstein files, to alleged war crimes on the high seas. Wiles has worked at the center of the storm, the Trump whisperer who sees it all. I'm entering my 9th year altogether, my 5th year day to day. So it's hard to surprise me. Wasn't it compromised one time? You're gonna have to be more specific. Oh, the group chat. Yeah, they accidentally invited a journalist to the group chat. The fucking White House, the fucking government cabinet in their highly illegal group chat where they talk about top secret things and committing war crimes in like Yemen, accidentally invited a journalist to the group chat, and that journalist just fucking screenshotted everything they were saying, labeled the people who were saying it, like, yeah, this is Miller, this is who else? This is Rubio, this is I think maybe Patel was in there. Maybe not. It was somebody else whose name sounds familiar to me, but I can't place it. And then they just published that, and that was a whole like news story thing. The worst OPSEC of all time. JD Vance, the heir apparent. The funniest thing about this, the thing I will actually give JD Vance some credit for in being funny, is apparently he asked specifically for a photo of him to be taken that looked like this. Like, apparently JD Vance wanted this photo to look like this. Anyways, JD Vance, the heir apparent, once a fierce critic of Trump, who could be America's Hitler, Vance said in 2016, the vice president is now his highest ranking acolyte, a 180-degree transformation that Wiles calls sort of political. In the wake of his friend Charlie Kirk's assassination, Vance spoke of the festering violence on the far left, helping fuel Trump's campaign of revenge and retribution against political enemies. A conspiracy theorist for a decade, according to Wiles, Vance keeps a close eye on the views of younger voters. Basically, he has his finger on the pulse of like the 4chan Nazi demographic. What else we got? Stephen Miller, the zealot, tip of the spear for the president's weaponized roundups of immigrants and the take no prisoners approach to alleged drug smugglers, aka blowing up random fishermen in the Caribbean and Pacific. Miller is a battle-tested soldier in Trump's war against the deep state. He is the deep state. You guys got to understand, plenty of people say the deep state colloquially. the deep state is, well, first of all, it's a reference to this Turkish militant group that act as like enforcers for the government when there's like still a lot of instability in early Republican Turkey in the like 1920s. What it refers to nowadays, the deep state refers to various behind the scenes interests, usually the intelligence community and the military industrial complex that acts directly contrary to what civilian government might otherwise have impetus to do, right? So like usually counter to public pressure. And that's him. He works with the fucking the 3-letter agencies and the deep state. Dan Scavino, the caddy, deputy chief of staff. Very good. Another photo of Susie Wiles. And J.D. Vance, too. Stephen Miller. Vino. I wonder what are the highlights of the interview, or like what are some of the big beats? Talks about the challenges Trump faces through the past year. Wiles and I have spoken regularly about almost everything. The contents and consequences of the Epstein files, ICE's brutal mass deportations, Elon Musk's evisceration of USAID, the controversial deployment of the National Guard to U.S. cities. Again, this is still like kind of captured media type shit. This is illegal, not controversial. Like saying controversial even like sane washes all this shit. Demolition of the East Wing, which is also unconstitutional. The lethal strikes on boats allegedly being piloted by drug smugglers, alleged without any evidence. Acts many have called war crimes. Trump's physical and mental health, whether he will defy the 22nd Amendment and try to stay for a third term. Leakiest administration in history. This is the chief of staff. This is the White House chief of staff telling everything to a journalist that's going on inside the government, like in the day-to-day. Yeah, that is literally what they're told, Gotron. That's what happens in these newsrooms. Don't sound biased. And by don't sound biased, we mean use neutral sounding language that adheres to our pre-existing biases. You know? Like, this shit literally won't get published if they do good journalism. Like, if somebody wrote an article for an American newspaper that was actually not biased, that was actually more objective insofar as an honest coverage of like the news about Palestine, and they said that like, oh yeah, Israel is committing a genocide, they have at minimum killed like 80 to 90% civilians, Gaza is devastated, all the civilian ways and means of life are gone, and that sort of shit, the news outlet would probably fire them, but regardless, it wouldn't get published until they had adequately sanitized the image of Israel. Because that is a pre-existing bias, you know? Most senior White House officials parse their words and speak only on background. But over many on-the-record conversations, Wiles answered almost every question I put to her. Catholic light. Trump, she told me, has an alcoholic's personality. This would sting to Trump if he ever found out. Trump actually has a chip on his shoulder about drinking because his brother died of because of his alcoholism. And so because of that, Trump never drinks. Again, it's not necessarily the stuff you'd expect, but it is like, it's all psychoanalysis type shit. Like it has to do with their internal psychology. What pushes the right kinds of buttons. This would get under Trump's skin in the same way that Trump, like, trash talking and like victim blaming Rob Rayner after his death got under the skin of his supporter base, because this is like a nerve being touched. Also, we're not the only people apparently speculating that like Elon Musk is a ketamine addict, because Susie Wiles also thinks this. And she says microdosing. She says, I think that's when he's microdosing. But when you hear the things that she says, for the most part, with the exception of this right here, Susie Wiles, being a conservative Christian, has been rhetorically trained throughout her life, as many people are, to use very understated and reserved language. You know, live streamers like myself, you will not hear using such language because there's an incentive, because it's funnier, more entertaining, and so forth. We're pretty hyperbolic. We speak in more hyperbolic terms, not necessarily just in the sense that we're exaggerating, but we speak big, you know, if that makes sense. A lot of volume. I wonder where it talks about some of the things that she's directly said. Oh, this is all before. What was PEPFAR? Oh, this was like a Bush era thing. Okay. Where? Okay. Day 207. Whoa, okay. There's a big time skip here. From day 8 to day 56. Oh yeah, this was in the Alien Enemies Act, deportations to CCOT in El Salvador. Remember this one time where I was around the cop, they had the aura of violence, not joking? Yeah, that's their job. Their job is to use the violence of the state. That's how I feel when I'm around a cop. Everybody should feel uncomfortable when they're around a cop, because this is a person that has the authority to ruin or even end your life with impunity at a moment's notice. That's what cops are. That's what they've always been. That's the function they serve. You know, they're not here to enforce the law insofar as it protects you. They're here to enforce the law insofar as it binds you. I will concede that we've got to look harder at our process for deportation. Like, fucking, oh yeah, hundreds deported to a concentration camp in El Salvador. At least one of them being a legal resident with no record. And she was like, my fault, OG. And that was all she had to say. Okay, this one was interesting to me too, because of the discussions that were happening about the time of the tariffs. Apparently, they were just making that shit up on the fly, which we already knew from the whole will they, won't they with tariffs. But according to Susie Wiles, so much thinking out loud is what I would call it. There was a huge disagreement over whether tariffs were a good idea. Trump's advisors were sharply divided, some believing tariffs were a panacea and others predicting disaster. Wiles told them to get with Trump's program. I said, this is where we're going to end up. So figure out how you can work into what he's already thinking. They couldn't get there. It's funny, earlier she said she's not an enabler. And then down here she's saying, like, look, just support the tariffs because Trump wants to do them. And, like, I can't tell him no. Like, why? You do have to be evil to not encounter this sort of shit and just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna quit and let it all crash and burn behind me. You know, like, hmm. Yeah, here the question around Wiles' tenure under Trump has been whether she will do anything to restrain him. A better question, does she want to? Time where I didn't buy my mom alcohol and they got mad at me. She died for alcohol poisoning that senior year. I'm sorry to hear that. Proper, like, they're probably like, I'm sick of this job, this person. Yeah, probably, but not sick enough to quit. She's still the chief of staff. You understand? Ugh, I'm sick of this job. Let me just go be a sycophant some more. The pay's really good. She doesn't care. None of these people care. There are people that say I'm sick of something and then continue to do it. Yeah. I think she's like sick of it in a banal sense. Like, can't believe I have to work with these people. But she doesn't actually care. Not that much, anyways. Part 2 of 2. Oh, there's a part 2. Okay, let me copy this link and put it into this. Oh my god. Here is Carolyn Leavitt. She looks hideous. She's okay. Carolyn Leavitt apparently is like 27 or 28. That's only like a couple years older than me. And she looks like this. Incredible. We should come up with a term for the Palpatine phenomenon. Roald Dahl already put a description to it where it's like uh evil deeds wear on your face or some shit like that. It's like the woke version of phrenology, where when somebody's evil, their visual appearance starts to reflect that more and more. In the case of people surrounding Trump, God, not easy to look at. It's like the Mar-a-Lago face type shit. But for people who are like good and aspire to do good things and that sort of stuff, they like you begin to associate their appearance with those good things, and so it's just always, you know. He's on the campaign trail. There's Marco Rubio, who looks like he's dead inside. The Hawk. First national security advisor since Henry Kissinger. Man, national security advisor as a position really fell off. You had Kissinger, now it's just Rubio. I guess it really does speak to the nature of how surveillance, statecraft, and the sort of the surveillance apparatus and the deep state have changed, where it used to be that the traditional intelligence community was a lot more involved, but nowadays it's like increasingly privatized. Like we've privatized a lot of the deep state. Social media companies, well, just tech companies in general, do a lot of the surveillance, just collecting data, building profiles and portfolios of people, through listening in on their phone and any active microphone. Like they're just always listening all the time, but their interest is selling you stuff instead of like uh, uh, throwing you in the gulag right away. Yeah, it's like circumventing democracy. They got around it. James Blair, the Bulldog. More glamour shots. Very good. Most of this stuff is not going to be anything we didn't know already. It might be throwbacks to like earlier fiascos with this government, but nothing too new, I think. Most transparent administration in history because everything fucking leaks. Also, Vance is here twice. Are some of these photos close-ups of this? No, I don't think they are. God, she looks horrifying. I can't get over how. Here, let's look at the funny haha JD Vance. There we go. That's funnier. Thank you. I'll just end on that. On that shit. Oh. I just remembered something that I also wanted to talk about because of like PC building and stuff. Here, hold on. Where was it? Yeah. Here, hold on. There we go. Sure, I'll look at PC Gamer for this. NVIDIA is reportedly looking to cut gaming GPU production by up to 40% in 2026 due to VRAM supply issues. But it's not as bad news. It's not as bad news as you might think. Not yet, at least. Wow, thank you, PC Gamer. Fuck you. Yeah, it's gonna take a while for this to take effect. There's a RAM shortage right now, random access memory, and it's starting to affect like consumer stuff. Nvidia's deciding to cut back on like graphics card production, and a lot of PC building hobbyists have noted that like RAM is getting more expensive. There's a RAM shortage, and that is because here's times of games. I don't know how like good of a source this is, but yeah, Nvidia is shifting its focus from gaming to AI. They're like, move over gamers and people who use computers for regular shit. We need that for AI. We're going to sink more and more resources. This is actually like the Smithian version of capital. They're sinking more and more capital into AI, which actually translates, because it's physical capital, it actually translates to a shortage of product elsewhere, you know? Honestly, I feel like silver lining for this is could be that like people actually have to start optimizing their games again. That might be nice. No more fucking 200 gigabyte file size. In fact, I think I forget which game it is. It was recently where they were like, one of the patches, the updates to the game was just optimizing some stuff. It's like, oh yeah, we did some optimizing work. The game should run more smoothly and whatever. Worked out some of the kinks. And like the file size of the game shrunk by over 50 gigabytes. And it was kind of like, wow, what the fuck were you using all that extra shit for? Like, what were you doing that was taking up that much space and resources? Anyways, I just wanted to touch on that real quick because it's funny more so than anything, because I fucking hate gamers. Speaking of gamers, let's get gaming. Done. All right, let me turn on my Nintendo 2. I should actually, first things first, what I need to do is go to my settings. Display show only on what? Okay, good. And now, let me see, looking at two, let's I gotta look real close at these things here. Main overlay thing. There we go. Yay. Let's get started. DLC available? What is this? No, I'm not. Oh, wow. They actually make you purchase it separately for each account. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. I'm not playing that. Okay, so we've got my team. So we have 3, maybe 4, or even 5. No, I don't know if I want Bunnelby to be a permanent team member, but Mareep I do, Totodile I do, Budew probably, Fletchling probably. So that's how I'm gonna play this, I think. Give me this, give me these items that are just chilling on the ground. What is, the current objective? Wait, how do I get to the map? Start, right? Yes, it is. Okay. What is this? Okay. Guess I gotta go over there and meet with the fucking guy. Picking up hella items. What even is over here? What's the one other Pokemon that's here? Oh, is it a Rock Smash Pokemon? Maybe it is. Some Pokemon can jump out of rocks at you in the main series games. Oh. There's that barnacle thing. Here's Kakuna. Some good stuff here, you say? Oh, Quick Claw. That's a good item. Resist Feather. Who do I want to have a good defense stat? I don't know, probably you? I don't know. Sure. Hello. Oh, there's just Fletchling chilling about. Okay. These items. Ooh, EXP candy. What's this? Yeah. Who needs the experience? You do. Eh. Yay. I got some shards. Don't try to explore for now. Yeah, game doesn't want me to explore right now. Give me a flamethrower roast. Flamethrower, best move. Best fire type move, maybe. Uncomfortable close-up. Why that angle? Who is this fucking guy? I see. You know that NPC got gender swapped? Yeah, because it's the other character. It's the other, like, player character. Just like how in X and Y, if you pick the male character, the female character will be like your main rival. You know? I can't run. Game isn't letting me run. Oh, dude. I can stop and hit some of these things. Nice. Mega shards. What Pokemon do I have that can mega? I know Ampharos has a mega. I know that much. I don't think the Johto Star... No, wait. I think maybe the Johto starters, like, recently got megas. I think that was a thing. But where'd he go? Oh, he's right there. Okay. Hit some of these. Nice. Oh, another Pokemon Center. Perfect. Those are for online play? I thought they were for Mega Evolutions. You know, like, you could make a Mega Stone out of them and then Mega Evolve one of your Pokemon. Oh, okay. Alright. I don't think that was like a needed feature, but okay. Certain stones are exclusive to online. Why? And which ones, too? Like, what? Swift Feather. Who do I need to be fast? Well, you obviously want to be fast, so. Starters for X and Y? Oh, well, I don't intend to use any of those. X and Y, not the best generation for the starters. Like, they're not bad, but not my favorite designs. Generation 7 posted some bangers, though, with the Owl, Rowlet, and especially with Litten that evolves into Incineroar. Like, that's the good shit. Who dis? You know, honestly, he's kind of cooking. You started it. Damn. Okay, well, here we go. Machop, alright. Okay. I'm probably gonna go for growth again, maybe? No, I'll just go for absorb again. And, charm. Oh, man, okay. Was that, I think that was, yeah, okay. Probably go for this. Oh, man. Okay, okay. Yeah, it's a classic Pokemon. They're like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you now. Meditite, huh? Okay. Did it. Victory. Cool. Oh, level 13. Very good. Yeah. First Legends game, gotta say it feels more stimulating to catch Pokemon in. Honestly, I gotta say, so far this game isn't like as... I didn't have as much fun with this game as I had with Pokemon Legends Arceus. I really, really like Legends Arceus as like a somewhat of a deviation from the regular Pokemon formula. Again, it just felt like it needed more time investment. Okay. I guess I will check out Wild Zone 3 or something. Okay. Came up with some new research you can do. Check the list. I will. Requests. Filling your Pokedex. Did I do that? Catch them, evolve them, however you do it, it's all the same. Okay. Catching normal types, catching fire types. Okay, so catch a bunch of Pokemon, basically. What is... Okay, all tasks. Okay, these are the ones I have done. Ah, smash Mega Crystals to do such and such. Okay. Evolve Pokemon. Catch various types of Pokemon. What is the last Pokemon in the second wild area? I still don't know. I still don't know what it would be. I hope it's not a time-based encounter. Nighttime. Okay, okay. So it's Staryu, and it only appears at night. Gotcha. Maybe I'll do that off stream. Oh, dude. No, fuck you. I'm not going to the Looker Bureau. Yes, I'm traveling here. I'll tell you when you can explore. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is do a bunch of poking around in Wild Zone 3. think. What is this? Oh, right. They don't let you go in there yet. That's too interesting for them to let you do it before progressing the story. All right, Wild Zone. Here we go. Cool. I think I'm gonna incorporate Pichu into my team briefly. The Tower in the Wild Zone is used for shiny hunting. Wait, which tower? This? Oh, the mausoleum? At least I think that's a mausoleum. Or it looks like a mausoleum at least, like a big one. Let's see. Holy Spupa. Okay. Walk into and out by just holding down on your controller. Okay, I see. Alright, I think my team is just going to remain this for now until Spupa evolves. Then I'll sub in Pichu, just for the purpose of, you know, Pikachu. Here, you come back. And I'm going to very quietly... Where is it facing? Did it just phase through that? It did. I can't tell if its back is turned to me. I really can't tell. Yeah, you're not a ghost type. You can't do that. Oh. Please. Nice. Boxes. Neutral nature. That's pretty good. Okay. Is that another Flabebe or whatever? If I look at the Pokedex. No. I'll just look at the wild area. Okay, Wild Zone 3. What's here? Pikachu. I'm not gonna mess with that yet. Hello. Use Charm. You notice Pikachu Reza said Pikachu earlier? I see. He's so tiny. It's really funny how tiny the Pokemon are. They're running around in circles and stuff. Uses Charm, they get aggressive. Yeah. Okay. Paralyze heal. I think Budu evolves via friendship, so... Litleo, look at that. Okay. Hello. Got him. I was trying to evolve stuff for the Pokedex in this game. I just shoved coffee in their face. That's a really bad nature. I'm sorry, Leo. Bye-bye. Well, actually, I'll catch the other one first, I think. What's up? Catch that one? Yeah. Methinks that's like a better system for catching. Okay, neutral nature, that's fine. Release. Thank you. There we go. So I've got another fire type if I want it. Do I have what Fang move do I have? Thunder Fang, and nobody can learn that. Okay. I think Fire Fang is the next one, with Ice Fang being the last one. Yeah, I'll fight this Leo, sure. Ow. What? Just use Roar. That's kind of funny that now Roar just, like, shoves you. I think that's funny. Berry Pearl, that can be sold for some money. Only 2 out of 6. What is this? Oh, this takes me up here. I see. Aerial Ace. What? There's no inside to this? Dang. Oh, this is probably... There's a Pokemon here too, right? Yeah, Esper. I love Esper. There's a reason for that later. I don't want to spoil. Okay, okay. I actually... I was gonna say something about, like, Esper having differences between the male and female version, but I don't think that's the one that affects its base stats. Actually, the worst nature possible. I'm gonna get another one. They got a Mega Evolution, the DLC. Well, I'm not buying the DLC, so... I'll leave that to Pokemon Showdown or whatever. Or like PokeRogue to implement that. Right, boxes. Speed up, attack down, a significantly better nature. So I felt comfortable spoiling it. Okay, yeah. Anything that's DLC exclusive, you can... That's probably all well and good. Is there only, like, 2 per area here? Mega Evolution just looks like they combined the genders, funnily enough. Finally, gender synthesis, gender abolition in my Pokemon game. It's more likely than you may think. Ow, stop hitting me. It kind of sucks only having one attacking move on Budew. But, you know. It is what it is. Okay. Nest Ball. Finally, a game where you actually get a Nest Ball at the point where it's relevant in the game. Nest Balls help you catch Pokemon that are under level 30 specifically. And I think it's like Pokemon that are significantly lower level. I think that's the level ball. No. Yeah, nest balls are good for Pokemon that are lower than level 30 specifically. I'm going to replace Growl, actually, and just make this a full-on attacking set. And keep in mind which attacks instantly hit their opponents, which have to travel. Oh, yeah, that's relevant, huh? Oh, wait, Budew can learn Swift. Yes, forget... I think you forget Charm for Swift, because Stun Spore is really useful. Mareep can learn Swift, too. Collision is annoying? Yeah, I've noticed. Forget Tackle for Swift. Headbutt. Right, no, nobody can learn Thunderfang. Alright, Budew can learn Mudshot. Go off. Do I want to keep Stun Spore or do I want to keep Growth? Stun Spore is permanent, but doesn't work on grass types or I think electric types. This is not permanent, but is universally applicable. I can remember moves at any time, I think, right? So it's like not that big a deal. Maybe I will do... You know what? I will forget Growth so I can literally double down on lowering speed. Set up Stun Spore, use Mudshot. Yeah, that was a thing that I'm really glad got introduced in Legends Arceus, or I forget like when exactly they introduced it, but it like became the new standard because it was really annoying always having to learn where the move deleter and move relearner were because they were in specific locations in early games. Oh, buddy, I'm not even talking about Pokemon Sword and Shield. I have burned into my memory from the days of Pokemon Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Fire Red, and Leaf Green, where you would have to go to find the person that could help you forget and relearn certain moves. In part because that was the only way you could get rid of HM moves. Back when those were like permanent moves. Use Mudshot! Got him. Get him. Cook. Budew's cooking right now. Got him. I'm so good. Well, let's go. You got another one? Got him. Ah, now Budew is paralyzed. I see, I see. And that's something that persists into the field. Oh, there's Skiddo over there. I saw them earlier, but it like didn't fully register it. All right, let me go to the Pokemon Center, and then I will catch one of those Go-Goat. Or not Go-Goat, Skiddo. It evolves into Go-Goat. Which is, I think, a really slept-on grass type for main series, like main game Pokemon games. It's obviously not very good in multiplayer, but, you know, it's a tanky grass type, which is a pretty good recipe for sweeping the main game because you can train really, really easily off of rock, grass, and water types. You're almost level 12, which I think is when you evolve, so... So close, so close. Ain't no way this kid just has a Go-Goat. That's crazy. Alright, you come back. Now... probably have Fletchender... or, not Fletchender, Fletchling out front. Fletchender is what it evolves into. Silly me. Oh, hi! Oh, they're friendly. Oh. I missed. Hello. You're so cute. Eh. There we go. Leveled up. Yes, okay, Spupa can evolve now. To be fair, story-wise, you only been in the city for like 2 days. Well, yeah, but like, I don't know. It's just a little bit weird for like in my brain, it's always like a little weird to see like one of the really little kids have like a fully evolved Pokemon, because that implies that they like have a very high level Pokemon and are like a very powerful Pokemon trainer. Nature? No, the worst nature. Bad luck. Hi, Skiddo. Playing hide and seek. Yay. Okay. Alright. You got me. Okay. Boxes. Skiddo. What's this one looking like? No, another bad nature. Attack down, defense up. Can't do that. Hello. Eh. Oh, okay, that just worked. Another attack down, defense up. Oh my goodness. Alright, I need to do the thing. Oh, item. Skiddo, come back. They don't respawn just from you doing that, do they? I see. I'm just gonna release these Skiddo right now. Release? Yes. Release? Yes. Oh, wait. Release? Yes. They have a cooldown? I gotcha. I'll go heal. And maybe see what they have at the shop at that Pokemon Center. And then I'll come back and see if there are Skiddos with a better nature to catch. Basically, what I'm interested in is for a Skiddo that if they have a stat like decrease, it be special attack, probably. Like, that's the only stat I would really want. Unless, here, let's see, Go-Goat. What is it? Yeah, wait, 97 base special attack? That's kind of goofy. So then I'm looking for either, like, neutral nature or, like, defense down. And then anything else. Or I guess I would maybe tolerate speed down as well. Because Go-Goat's base speed is not super high. There's clothing stores? Oh, right, that counts as exploring, and you're not allowed to do that yet. Speed's not much of a necessity in this game. How does speed work? Here, hold on. How does speed work in Pokemon Legends ZA? No, I know that the cooldown mechanic, oh, okay. So your speed stat, I was wondering if they just like kind of nuked the speed stat. But no, speed does actually affect how quick your Pokemon can act, like out of the cooldown and stuff. So speed does matter. So I don't want speed down necessarily, but I'd probably tolerate it. It'd probably be fine. Yes, let it evolve. It's just if your opponent's a lot faster than you, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. Yeah, I figured. Learn Gust. Okay, great. Wait. Oh, ZR. Yes. Oh my god. Actual moves. Okay. Learn, no, Stun Spore is really good. Learn Infestation instead of Protect. Learn Gust instead of String Shot. Tackle is fine. Stun Spore, okay. Cool. What moves do you have? That's it. That's it for you too. What shot, tackle, leer? Yeah, okay. That tracks. Okay. So I have a fully evolved Pokemon, which I could use to demolish everyone and everything, but it's Pichu time. I think Pichu evolves with high friendship, same as Budew. Well, actually, I know that these two evolve with high friendship. Played enough Pokemon games to just remember that. Does anybody else here evolve like early? Not that I can tell. Beedrill's already fully evolved. Magikarp evolves level 20. You evolve at level something that's beyond like 12 or 13, so no dice right now. Yeah, okay. Yay, registered. Oh, I did it. I got points. Level 6. Maple's Research. Give me Fire Fang. Yay. Oh, Ice Fang. That's the juice right there. That's the one I want. Totodile can learn Ice Fang. I want that shit. Give me that shit. Here, hold on. No, but Satchel. I don't think anybody can learn Fire Fang. Yeah, no. Can Pichu learn anything that I have? A Protect, but that's not especially useful. Swift? Okay, that's good. Freezing people in this game screws over your opponent so hard. Oh, baby. Gen 1 is so back. Generation 1 freeze, welcome back. Okay. I probably want to get rid of Quick Attack. Probably. Because I intend for, like, Pichu and Pikachu to be special attackers anyway. Immobilized and stuck there for, like, a minute. We are so back, Gen 1 bros. Shoutouts to anybody that knows the absolute fucking menace that was Gen 1 freeze and Gen 1 sleep. And I'm not just talking about competitive either. You'd have to deal with that shit during the main course of the game. Which was an absolute nightmare. Alright, Budew. It's time to take on Big Pikachu. Scamming the American people out of something. I don't know. No, what? Stop retargeting the one that's already defeated. Jeez. Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. Oh, the Skiddo are back. Okay, so you need to KO some other Pokemon. If I remember correctly, I think this is the last story mission you have to do until you get full freedom. Okay, that's nice. For now, what I'm gonna do... Okay, Buttoo's paralyzed. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna have Fletchling out front, and... Oh, what? It just bounced off. That's crazy. Alright, what's up, Skiddo? That's great. That's good. That's a good nature. Speed up, special attack down. You love to see it. Because I do not intend to use Skiddo or Go-Go's special attack stat. Awesome. Would you like to play? Yay. I'm gonna need to go heal, I think. If I look at the map... Oh, don't tell me that's another time-specific encounter. That would suck if that's the case. How many wild zones are there? 6? Okay. Mission list? You know what? I'm going to... I might actually go all the way back to this Pokemon Center. I'm considering, like, taking Pichu out for a spin. And, like, letting Pichu do some stuff. And then I'll do that story mission. Reminds me when I played the game and took forever to complete the story. Yeah, I've... Lately, with some Pokemon games, I'm the same way. Of course, with Pokemon games I'm familiar with, it, like, whizzes by, because I know what level the game expects you to be, and, like, what you need to do. Get that. Yeah. What's up, Fletchling? Got him. Is accuracy? Accuracy isn't a thing in this game, is it? Because of the way that, like, battle works. You just lock onto a target and... That's that? Now it's just like, oh yeah, this, like... Because of this move being way more powerful or whatever, now it's, like, got more cooldown time. The system mechanics of this game are pretty cool, and I like it. For the life of me, when I played this game, I could not figure out what sleep did. Does it not, like, immobilize them? Same as, like, freeze? Nice. Thought it was put them in a coma, then beat them up. Yeah, I mean, that's what I would assume, too. Uh-oh. Not good. Okay. I don't want to auto-heal. I want to use potion. Very good. Wait, where did that little Fletchling go? Oh, hello, Weedle. Please KO. Thank you. I do not want to get caught in an interaction like that with Weedle because Poison Sting can be absolutely deadly. Fletchling, where are you going? He's just like walking all the way over there. Find it annoying. Poison is annoying when it happens to you, but not really useful against your opponents in this game. Yeah, there are some status conditions that operate on kind of a one-way logic like that. Poison is one of them, usually, because with conditions like Burn, it can be useful to you still, because Burn has the benefit of cutting your attack stat in half for like, the person inflicting the burn. But Poison doesn't do any similar stat cut, so it's just the damage over time, which is really annoying for you because you have to go to the Pokemon Center, but the game doesn't. So, you know. Hello. I think they did remove after battle poison damage at some point from Pokemon games. I don't remember exactly when, but I remember there being a generation at which point, like, your Pokemon didn't take poison damage after battle. It's in this game? I know it's in this game. Oh, you mean after battle poison damage came back for this game? Because I think they removed it around the time of Generation 5. There's poison damage after fights? Okay, I didn't know that. Get these things. Yeah. Get these things. Level 8. Okay, cool. Okay, game's not gonna let me go over there. It will, however, let me do this. And this. Letting you know when you reach your shard cap 999, there's no point in breaking them anymore. Incorrect. They give a little bit of experience, and your Pokemon actually gain friendship from you breaking them. That's why I'm doing it right now. Sure, like the Mega Stones are nice and all that, if there's an opportunity for me to spend them, but what I'm principally interested in is friendship farming. But yeah, I know that there's a 999 item cap. Like, items only stack to that much. What do I have in my boxes? Nobody else here can really evolve early. So, I guess it's my team. I'll get Bunnelby up to level 13, I suppose. And then I'll go do that mission. Okay. That headbutt does a lot of damage. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, Pancham. That's one of the other Pokemon. Okay. Back turn? Yes. Boxes. Speed up, special defense down. That's pretty fine. I wasn't intending to send out Pancham against, like, a psychic, fairy, or special flying type anyway. Forgot about this guy. Guy requires another friend to evolve. Is that true? I thought Pancham just evolved through level up. Oh, okay. It's both. Yeah, okay. You have to have another dark type, and he has to hit level 32. Okay. So right now I don't have any other dark types. I guess I could... Well, no, I can't capture another Pancham because Pancham is just fighting type. So that doesn't really work. Hello. What? Headbutt? Okay, thank you. Right, he's moving around all weird like. Okay, I got burned a little bit. Level 13, cool. Alright. So now everybody's level 13 or 14. I think this is gonna be my team for now. Bunnelby's definitely not a permanent team member. These two, well, these three, I think, definitely are permanent team members. Budu is making a pretty strong case for themselves. And then, so the two slots in question are these two. Which I might have Esper on the team, but then I need something like kind of tanky, apart from Esper, to occupy the other space. And not Skiddo, because I don't want to do repeat types. Shit, I might even come back to Bunnelby, unless... Let me take a look at Diggersby's stats. It's not that great. 77 in both defenses, 85 HP. Definitely not, like, tank material. Normal ground type 2, weak to a bunch of stuff. Okay. How many Pokemon? Okay, so everything except Pikachu. Maybe I'll catch a Pikachu just to have it in the Pokedex. There's an item here. Oh. There's an item here. Can I not get the item? Or are these like a breakable thing? Oh, right. He's going to take burn damage if he comes out of the Pokeball. Forgot about that. Okay. Oh. Do I need... I need Cut. I was going to say, do I need, like, Ember or something? I need Cut. That's what I need. No, I don't think... Even though it looks like Fire would work, I don't think Fire's going to work. Never mind, you were right. HP up too? That's a good item. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you've already beaten this game. I am going to use this HP up and this resist feather on Mareep. I think. Very good. Are the Pikachu over here? Do they want to come out and play? There's one. Go. Do Mud Shot. Okay, I got one. That's the important part. Ow. Ow! Holy shit. You use Swift. Okay, or Mud Shot. That works too. Okay. Alright. Back to the Pokemon Center. Only wild Pokemon try to beat you up. Yeah. Dude, those Pikachu are unhinged. Also, I could be wrong, but I think it's better to catch a Pichu and then evolve it into Pikachu, because if you have a Pikachu, you don't necessarily have access to Pichu's moves. That is a good nature for Pikachu, though. Change moves. Raining Kiss. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, now that I've caught Pichu can leave the party for somebody else, which in this instance I think wants to be Esper. Maybe Esper or Magikarp. Magikarp just to be along for the ride until it hits level 20. I think a party of 5 is like more than enough at the moment. Yeah, I'll have, let's put you over here. We'll have this be like a flexible party slot. You hitch a ride, Magikarp, until you're level 20. Magikarps in this game for early game are really easy to farm XP off of. Yeah, because they literally can't attack you. That's how I, that's part of how I trained up Budew. Magikarp and these guys, Binacle. Because Budew has Absorb to start, and Absorb is obviously 4 times super effective against Binacle. If I look at the wild area... Oh, there's a little ribbon thing. Okay. This one's a nighttime only encounter, so I can't do that on stream. This one. And, what's your opinion on the midnight system? Like the... Oh, like the battle zones and stuff? Like, yeah, that. I like it, I think. It's better than, well, actually, I don't know how to feel about it so much. Look, I think it's just good that they're trying something new. That's my position on it. Literally a money farm? Yeah. I mean, it does make farming money a lot easier, because previously you needed to have, like, a Meowth with Payday, or, you had to have, the Versus Seeker, which didn't exist in some generations. It breaks the story if you do that, like if you farm money. I can kind of see why. I hope level 13 and 14 is fine for this point in the game. Okay. Finally got Ice Fang, so I can teach that to Totodile. She's asleep. Haha. Epic joke. Or was she pretending the whole time? Whatever. Oh yeah. Remember this lady. Why? Side missions. Okay. Oh, okay. So when she says detective work, it's actually just side quests. Okay, okay. Cool. Complete 3 side missions. Okay, so this is, I imagine, where you get to explore. Great. Good, 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 good. Maybe break that. Yeah, what? You missed. Okay, good, good, good. Items, very nice. Oh. It's kind of goofy that there's just random piles of gemstones all around the city. So Magikarp is just going to be along for the ride. For now, where? Okay. Don't get your hopes up with detective work. As in, like... Yeah, and using Pokemon moves against buildings. As in, like, the rewards aren't that good. Let me go to... Oh, okay, these little blue exclamation points are... Most of the missions are just you fight me. Just... I see. What's this? Oh, what? Random, like, mobile Pokemon Center. Okay. Was not expecting that. We'll collect some items here. And then go into Wild Zone 4. Hello? Okay, this is the graveyard.
Gashly.
Ghost types detected. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. I have to... Okay. Oh, what's up, Ekans? Okay. Literally got jumped upon entering the cemetery and then caught 2 Pokemon right away. With a really good nature on Ghastly. Not as good on Ekans. I probably want to find another Ekans, but that's good. Like that. This is the ghost type land? Yeah, ghost and poison type, evidently. What's this? Fire spin. Not something I'm particularly keen on, I think. Okay. So there's only 2 more Pokemon even here that I need to get for the research purposes and stuff. Alright, I guess I'll go looking for them. I'd be surprised if I, like... Seems like this is a perfect opportunity to have Yamask be one of the Pokemon. You know? One of them's a nighttime exclusive. That makes sense, given that it is the cemetery. Oh! There you are! Hello, I am just joining chat. Defend your ideology, which invaded my homeland. Go ahead. Sure. The Bolshevik part of my name is mostly a meme. I don't think I would most closely align with the Bolsheviks. Invading other countries is bad, but socialism, social housing projects, and all the rest, is good. Hope that helps. Also, if we're talking about World War II Finland, you did ally with the Nazis. Drop the Bolshevism then? You're not the fucking boss of me. Calm down. Workup could still be useful. I think I'll just drop tackle. Okay. Socialism does not equal to socialism. You are smart and historically right on this topic. Maybe I'm wrong. That's because you are wrong. Bolshevism, I think. Yeah, not all, like, the Bolsheviks were socialists. I'm a socialist. I'm not necessarily a Bolshevik. But there were some things that the Bolsheviks did that were really good. Like I mentioned, housing. In fact, the late 1910s and 1920s were like a period I really want to read more about because of how much how many optimistic developments were happening in the Soviet Union before, everything went downhill. After which point they stopped being known as the Bolsheviks and started being known as like the All-Union Communist Party or whatever the fuck. But what it really sounds like is you're trying to attach a sort of campism to me that's not applicable. You American, I assume? What gave it away? And I assume you're Finnish. Shadowclaw is really good. I feel like you need to calm down. I legitimately, this is my advice to you, Kreese, calm the fuck down. I don't know what I've done to personally aggrieve you. You can't go getting your panties in a twist at everybody who has a Bolshevik in their username online. You don't see me getting personally aggrieved at everybody who is a Nazi online or everybody who has 1488 in their username, right? Like, this is the internet. You need thick skin. Wait, what do I have that's new in the TMs thing? Nothing, apparently. I just scrolled over it. Oh, it was probably Whirlpool. Or, no, Firespin. That's what it was. Just wanted to ask if you know the difference. No, you didn't. You came here to start shit. This is not my first rodeo. Look, just admit that you came here to start shit and that you failed to start shit, and that's fine, right? It's Twitch chat. It's been known to happen, you know? I'm starting shit with this Ghastly right now. Okay, cool. Is that like, was that the only place that Ekans can spawn? Is like at the very front of the area? No, there's an Ekans right there. Okay, I will have Funnel be out front for this, or maybe Lechling? No, Totodile. Totodile seems like good. How did you see me from there? Okay, well, fuck it, we ball. Can you use the move? Thank you. I'm gonna focus on you for a second. Then you. There we go. Now. My bad to try and explain my point of view. Again, you didn't try to explain your point of view. You came here to start shit. See, like, again, you can't even bury the hatchet. Yeah, my ultimate move. My, other Ekans. Here we go. Poison Sting, Tackle, Bite. Wait, didn't? I feel like the other one had something else. Change moves, maybe? No, that was it. Huh. Usually Ekans has, like, Wrap or something at this level. At least I feel like. I could be remembering wrong, or maybe they changed it. Whatever. How to resolve this issues then? Any suggestions to talk about real politics? I think you should just shut up. I forfeit? Good. The politics part of the stream ended where I was talking about news events. If you want to like casually bring up a subject of interest that isn't defend yourself and the defend yourself to me, somebody who believes that you specifically have committed grievous crimes against me and my people. Just joined, my bad, was not aware. I don't know whether to believe that, but sure. You could have said, not interested, go away, and I'm gone. No, I couldn't have. You know damn well that's not true. I know, look, again, you're not going to get one up on me because I know exactly the kind of Twitch chatter that you are, right? And that's okay. Look, if you want to talk about something that's interesting, talk about that thing and don't make it like, oh, you need to defend yourself specifically why your username is the way it is. The fuck? I guarantee you're not actually probably interested in talking about anything that isn't the Bolsheviks right now. But you can prove me wrong by saying, oh yeah, this thing is interesting. Thoughts? Affordable housing, queen? Public housing, queen? Thoughts? What other moves do you have? Nothing particularly. What do you want to talk about? Well, right now I'm just talking about the game because I talked about the two like major things I had. I just hate Bolsheviks, like I said. Yeah, you just hate Bolsheviks. And at the time that, like, not even to mention that at the time that Russia invaded Finland, they weren't even calling themselves the Bolsheviks anymore. They weren't Bolsheviks anymore when they invaded Finland. They were probably the National Bolsheviks, which I hate. You know, Nas bullshit. Bolshevism is national Bolshevism, scum of the earth. Kind of like socialism, pretty good. National socialism, fuck no. You know, there's a little word of national there that makes a lot of difference in what that ideology entails. Stalin versus Lenin, no? More or less, Lenin isn't even necessarily like... I don't think Lenin is like applicable as the sole avatar of Bolshevism as an ideology, to the extent that like you could consider like Bolshevism a subset of socialism. Lenin was an academic and, well, a political revolutionary who had some good ideas and had some shit-ass ideas, many of which unfortunately won out against the backdrop of the good shit. You know, the part where he disbanded the Soviets and had all the anarchists shot. That's pretty bad. But, you know, the stuff like women's rights, compaction, housing projects, and all that, that was pretty good. Workers' congresses. Again, here we are talking about Bolshevism again. Who's even left in the... Okay, now it's just the, like, nighttime specific encounter. Conclusion, nationalism is cringe? Yes, thank you. That's good, I think. I didn't mean to do that. My brain is still on Legends Arceus mode. Every time I... Well. Catch and release. Bye-bye. Have fun out there. You do need to collect a certain amount of types. So I noticed. I don't think... I'm like not so much prioritizing that. What I'm mostly doing is like catching Pokemon as I go and hoping that can fill out other requirements as like an ancillary thing, you know? Hopefully, oh, okay, so repeat Pokemon do count for this. Hopefully evolving Fletchling into Fletchinder will count for this. And like Totodile into Croconaw. Oh, wait, but Pokemon I received from somebody else doesn't count, so that's not going to count. Evolving gets its own quest. I see, I see. Yeah, okay, evolving Pokemon. I see, I see. Okay, so then I'll probably just defer to... like Ukrainian nationalism now. I don't think nationalism is the issue. Then you're incorrect. It is an issue, and it's a pretty big issue. Yeah, I would say that like Ukrainian nationalism should be treated as the same as like other types of nationalism and should be analyzed with an academic lens as such, you know? It like, this is not, I don't think you actually understand what I'm saying, like what we mean when we say nationalism is cringe. Like, so you think Ukraine should be annexed by Russia? No, that's still nationalism. Imperialism versus nationalism and in wartime should be viewed differently. No, you don't know what we mean because you're interpreting nationalism as, oh, the imperial powers just get to do with what they want, which is not what nationalism is, and also not what I'm critiquing at the moment. Like, imperialism and nationalism are both bad, but they're also different things. You can have empires outside of the age of nationalism and outside of a nationalist set of circumstances, outside of the nation-state form. Look at the history books. Look at empires like Rome, the Achaemenid Persians, the Sassanid Persians, the Ottomans, whatever. These are all empires that were not particularly nationalist in character when they were formed and most dominant, because they primarily existed outside of the era of history where nation states were the primary governing form. They were not a nation, but they were a state. So you had state without sort of national narratives and shit. Yeah. And if, like, everybody intrinsically, like, at an intuitive level understands that nationalism is, like, not the way that you make decisions. Like, you don't make decisions on what's politically good or bad based on national boundaries. You make decisions on what's politically good or bad based on outcomes and whether people benefit or are hurt by certain things. Why is the Russian invasion of Ukraine bad? Is it because Ukraine as a nation must have its sovereign borders respected at all costs? No, it's because military invasions fucking kill people. I agree with that. As a NATO soldier, no war is good. Yeah, look. And the reason war is bad is because people are affected negatively. You know? Although nations are actually greatly benefited by war. The reason that Russia went to war is actually because of the interests of nation building and statecraft. You know? Ukraine has a lot of Chernozem and Black Sea ports, which Russia and the economic management of its state would greatly benefit from, as well as the interests that are currently involved in running and propping up the state, you know, and that have influence in the state, that benefit from the role of the state. So, you know, thousands must die or something. And nationalism is how that's sold to people. Join the cause for our revanchism against the great enemy or whatever. Even if it means that you and other people around you die. I still haven't figured out what Pokemon to... Propaganda is a real thing? Yeah. Again, it feels like, I don't know. But not why the war started? No, the war started because of national interests. The war started because Russia had a interest grounded in nationalism and revanchism in absorbing Ukraine into its economic sphere of influence. They've been trying to do that for a long time. And that benefits the owning class of Russia, and I'm sure would come to benefit the owning class as it exists in Ukraine as well, because the owning class is perfectly willing to substitute one nation for another if it suits their interests. And because they are much more proximal to the framework of state, paradoxically, even though the owning class knows no nation, nationalism is an overriding ideology of the owning class. As weird as it sounds, nationalism is an international ideology. You know, it's that type of shit. Yeah, same for the reason that the United States and European Union have supported Ukraine is because our military-industrial complexes benefit from that. But you may notice in the early days of the war, the EU and US pulled a lot of punches and were not willing to do a lot of things to support Ukraine, like held back on certain equipment, because it is less in the interest of Western military power and Western national interests for the war to be won than it is for the war to be fought indefinitely. I think nationalism is the strongest ideology of all countries. I think capitalism is the strongest ideology of all countries. Nationalism might be the most widely believed ideology, which makes sense because it is incoherent and self-contradictory, much like most people in their beliefs. But whether it's nationalism or internationalism, like liberal internationalism, the interests of capital tend to prevail there. Let me look at one of these side quests. She lost her ring. Okay. Do I get to catch the Sableye? That'd be cool if that were the case, but it may not be. So you made the cemetery dangerous? I'm just gonna book it. Book it. Run past all these ghosts. Excuse me, sorry, specters of nightmares. I got places to be. Oh, hello. Dude, he's tiny. Sure. What's up? Bleh. He said bleh. If you catch, I'm about to do that right now. Oh, come on. He left. Where would you want to live now if you had all the resources? I live actually exactly where I want to live. I'm not going to dox myself, but, oh, it stops mid sound effect. Okay. Yeah, I live where I would want to live. You know? Between this and New York City anyway, because New York City's great. I wonder, is that like hard coded? Can you not catch the Pokemon in that quest? Let's not dox. I'm from EU. Where do you recommend I move to? Any suggestions? Not America. If you're looking to make a move in the EU, like, I don't know. It's hard to go wrong with a lot of places in Europe because Europe primarily has like actually functional cities. US specifically, okay, that's kind of a more my work is cut out for me there. Okay. There are there's a small group of towns in like the US East that were built before cars that are actually somewhat walkable. Towns that have universities and colleges, institutions of higher learning, tend to be more walkable. So if you look for a college town in America, that's typically a pretty decent place to live, especially because colleges tend to be producers of progressive politics and culture, both locally and nationally. So it'll be a pretty vibrant landscape relative to like your regular small town. But for larger cities, I would actually recommend, these are two cities that I have been to. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh are real cool. Denver's pretty cool as well, though Denver's a little bit more car dependent. New York City obviously is like the city in America. Chicago's not a bad choice either. What I would say is stay away from LA and like most cities on the West Coast, except like maybe Seattle. I don't know. There's not that many places in the US that you can go and actually like be able to walk places. Because most of this because this country's been influenced by like the automotive lobby and homesteading as a product of colonial ideology from the 18th and 19th century. So a lot of the country just looks like suburban blight. Even the largest cities in America, a large portion of them looks like that. Los Angeles is the size of Tokyo, the broader Tokyo area, with less than 10% of the population of the broader Tokyo area. Broader Tokyo area has something like 30 to 40 million people. Population of LA is like 3 million. And it's the same size geographically because it's all like suburban single family housing development. So stay away from that shit. Yeah, New York is good. College towns are good. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia are pretty good too. Chicago's all right. And then like stay away from the really homesteady places out west and the US South as well. God, the US South is a nightmare. I like to drive, but your insights are awesome from your perspective. Drove from all over California 2015, from the Redwoods to San Diego. Was looking for other places to explore. Yeah, America's great if you drive a lot. But you like, I think even if you like driving, you want to live in a place that doesn't require you drive. You know, cars are a great servant, but a terrible master. And, you know, like, regardless of where you live in one of these walkable places, and they're still very dominated by roads and cars. It's just better for you walking around than, like, other places. A lot of places in the United States are borderline unlivable because of how car dependent they are. LA being the big example where it's, like, impossibly large. But everywhere is connected by the same, like, interstate highway system. So, you're basically, if you like to drive, anywhere will be fine. But I think it's like, it's good for your mental health if you move somewhere, that you, where like you won't have to drive all the time, especially because car payments are killer in the United States. The average automobile price has been increasing year over year in America because part of the influence that the automotive lobby has exerted on the American government is like, or on just America in general, is buying out the used car market. It used to be you could get a used car for pretty cheap, anywhere from like $500 to $5,000, and $5,000 would be like you're getting a really good car used. But now that automobile companies and like dealerships have bought up a lot of the stock of used cars and destroyed a lot of it, now they have a capture on that market. So even the used cars are getting up into the $10,000, $20,000 range. New cars are at least $40,000, and those are for like the bare bones budget models. And a lot of the like more standard or luxurious cars get into $80,000 to $100,000 territory. And the standard period of the loans that you take to pay off a car is increasing. People are going into more debt for longer for the same, often worse quality product. Cars are also a lot less modular than they used to be. So basically what I'm saying is owning a car is a fucking nightmare because it adds like another 20 or 30% to your monthly expenses. The fact that it's even comparable to rent at all at the time that the United States is going through a crippling housing and rent crisis is like indictment enough, I think. Yeah, the same like trend is occurring in the EU. Although I'm pretty sure that the EU has it less bad than America, because in America cars are built to kill children. I'm not actually joking when I say that. It's like in economics and city planning, it's pretty natural to develop things at a human scale, you know, even if cars are present, unless cars being on the road is so necessarily hostile to humans that you have to separate the two. Yeah, a lot of cars like SUVs and pickup trucks, especially, you see this, the grill, the height of the grill and the hood of the car is almost exactly the height, or like a little taller even, than like a small child. A lot of people like there was some outrage bait going around a couple of years ago that a lot of drivers can't see bollards anymore, which are also about the height of toddlers. And again, they're designed that way. It's like a test to see like, okay, can you avoid these things? So these cars are like built to not see you. And because the hoods are so high off the ground, you can't even do the like stunt person technique where you roll off the hood. Older cars are designed to let you do that. These cars are literally designed so that if you get hit, they kill you. And you're more likely to get hit with these kinds of cars on the road. And Europe doesn't have cars like that, but in America, those cars are so big and dominant, they're literally the only kinds of cars allowed on the road. Like a lot of the cars that I have seen and ridden in like that are present in the European market are considerably smaller than American cars. And I kind of like that about them. But they because they're so small, they get murked by like your average pickup truck in America. They're not allowed on the road. I'm not even a car person, but so much of America's economics revolves around like the automobile industry that you inevitably, like by being interested in politics, you get exposed to a lot of this stuff. Okay, there's another person like over this way. Truth here, it's US cars are big like pickup trucks, but that's it. Actually import cars from the US to the EU. That's dangerous as fuck. One lady was literally saying, how am I supposed to see something? Yeah. Mustang is most Mustang in both US and EU. There is, I will say, I think there's like a very small degree of overlap between cars that are like compatible with the US market and cars that are compatible with the EU market. But I fear that overlap is going to be growing, particularly because, again, like I said, Europe doesn't have it as bad yet, but the trend is the same towards like bigger, more unaffordable, more dangerous cars. Oh yeah, I remember that video. Everybody was like, everybody was dogging on that person for like, oh yeah, I heard some scraping and then I just, you know, kept driving. And it was like the entire side of her pickup truck got like marked up really good by a bollard. Yeah, Teslas are the same in Europe and America. Americans in Europe, very different rules and requirements in each country. Yeah, Europe has much more robust regulatory bodies than America does. Giant bunny. Okay. Yeah, it's like you touch the stove and you're like, what's this hot feeling? And then you're like, oh bother, I have a big burn on my hand. You know, that type of shit. The reason I refer to Europe as a monolith there, as opposed to referring to each country, is because the European Economic Bloc exists, by the way. You know, like the EU, the European Commission, and like there are certain more like continent spanning regulatory bodies, and certainly in terms of like the sheer size of like like the real economy, I think Europe and America are roughly comparable in size. You know, not in terms of speculation though. America has literally everybody beat in terms of speculation, because that's the economy where it's like, my sources, I made it the fuck up. Now give me 1 billion million squadrillion dollars, and then it crashes every 10 years. Nobody does it like us. This quest unlocks alphas for all wild zones. Oh, okay. Same currency in some country, not all. For example, rich Finns register all their expensive cars in Estonia. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna like deny that there's regulatory quirks or anything. What I'm saying is that Europe is a economic bloc in a similar fashion to how America is. A lot of times, companies in the U.S. are actually headquartered in the state of Delaware for specific reasons. Because each state in the United States actually has different regulatory laws. Not necessarily to the same degree that European countries would, but it makes enough of a legal difference. Yeah, I know they have different currencies, but they also, like, being part of the EU, they can, like, exchange with the Euro. Well, the UK isn't part of the EU anymore, El Bozo, but yeah. What's up, 1v3? Playing some Pokemon today. Okay. I don't know why the game directed me to come back here, though. Talking about the automobile industry, too, and how much I hate it. I love that there are people who are really interested in cars. I respect, like, car guys, right? Yeah, Delaware and, like, Caribbean islands are tax havens and shit, so a lot of companies are headquartered or registered there or something. But I hate the automobile industry, particularly because I feel like if you're a car person, it'd be really frustrating to see the construction quality of cars get worse over time, and like the price increase and then be more and more of a debt trap and shit like that. I've worked on cars. I took, my high school actually had a joint, like, trade education program that I did for a little bit and took a couple of years of automotive collision repair. And one thing you learn is that, like, it really sucks to work on cars that are not modular. You know, this is part of why BMW was so maligned in the like auto body and auto shop sort of world, is because those cars are difficult as fuck to work on. I had experience with this firsthand. The wiring in the inside of a BMW sedan, I think, that we were taking apart one day, was like, how do I describe this? It was integrated into the door panel in that, in the sense that, like, you couldn't remove one without also removing the other. Like, it wasn't just like there's a couple wires that you pull out that are for the like little electric window mechanism. No, it was like the wiring of the car like ran through the door and whatever. Yeah, it's also that, like, if you ever need something repaired, you have to go to the dealership. And I hate that. Especially because, like, I had the opposite experience too, particularly with older cars, an older Chevy, an older Toyota, like a sedan, where it's like, oh yeah, this window roll mechanism is busted. Let's just take the door off the car, open it up, and find which individual part is broken so you can order that and then just replace it. And then, like, There you go. It's all fixed. Whereas like with new cars, oftentimes you can't even take apart the door panel because it's all one piece. And yeah, you'd have to take it to the dealership. And that stuff adds up when they do it with more and more and more components inside the car. You know, with the increasing presence of digitized like creature comforts inside a car, it's like an excuse to increase the price and make you go to dealerships, which are connected to the automotive companies themselves and stuff like that. Yeah, they make it really unfixable, and cars didn't always used to be like that. And I imagine if you're a person who really likes cars and is really interested in cars, that sucks. What's up, Alpha Bundle? Oh, I'm kind of getting smacked around by the... Okay, go. No, 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 don't hit me. What are you doing? Yeah, I can dodge, I know. I just didn't, like... Didn't quite remember in time. Oh my god. Okay. Ice Fang. Can I catch it? Oh, well, I guess I'll never know. You can and I caught it? Oh. Dang. Missed opportunity. Although, as far as I know, there's no difference between, like, an alpha Pokemon or a regular Pokemon when you catch it, except for, like, it's bigger. And Bunnelby's not, like, the greatest Pokemon either, but... You know, it is what it is. Let me go to the Pokemon Center here. They look so big and fluffy. That's true. I remember, too, there were certain Pokemon in... Pokemon Legends Arceus that you could find the alpha version way before you could find the regular version in the wild. Or potentially even you could only find them in the wild as like the alpha version. Maybe. Yeah, I think Snorlax was one of these where like you could find the alpha version. Heracross was another one. For sure. You couldn't find Heracross until a lot later. And then Munchlax was either very rare or you couldn't find until later. Yeah, alphas have certain moves too. That's right. I'll talk about how Trump wants to aid right-wing parties in European countries like the AfD and PVV. Good luck with that, honestly. I feel like it's going to backfire, if anything. Especially because, like, they kind of already tried to do that. And it really backfired. Like, America, with respect to the tariffs, with respect to just generally alienating allies, because the right wing tends to like other really right wing governments, which means Russia and not European democracies run by liberals whose entire job is to like capitulate to the right. But nonetheless, you know, America's kind of doing the whole like friendship ended with Europe. Now fucking Pol Pot is my homie or something. And I feel like that polarized and is currently polarizing a lot of Europeans against the United States, even more than they already were for like getting to feel better than America for having single payer healthcare and such. If a car costs 20K in the US and that car is 40K in Finland just because of the tariffs, it would be more like 40 and 80K, but yeah. And American cars, even before that, were like vastly more expensive than European and but particularly Chinese cars. Before Trump? Oh, you mean like these tariffs that were present during the Biden admin as well? Yeah, that's actually one area where the United States is known for its protectionist policymaking. Another part of the reason that cars are so big in the United States and not elsewhere is because given the option, people won't. Not Biden all the way back? Yeah, I know. This goes way, way back to before I was born even. The part of the reason that cars are so big and expensive in the United States as opposed to elsewhere is because if there was less protectionism with respect to the American automotive market, people would buy cheaper, smaller cars. But the automotive industry wanted cars to get bigger and more expensive. Yeah, the tariffs and the reason that certain cars in certain countries will be bigger, Germany being one, but especially America, is because of tariffs. You know, and that's beneficial for the car industry, but it's not terribly beneficial for, you know, regular people. I can't travel there. Why are you like this, capitalism? Many such cases. It's actually an interesting departure from the free market. Adam Smith famously had very conditional support for free markets and only championed them insofar as they could meet people's needs and serve a real, like, common good, as opposed to just being good at making line go up and serving the business interests. And this is one such instance where capital diverges from a market system, where it's like more beneficial to the interests of capital to close markets as much as possible so that they have a monopoly. You know, that way they can win the competition quicker. Why ain't you Bolshevik Y2Kism yet? True, that's the next latest and greatest ideology. Yeah, like pulling the ladder up behind them. And when companies have monopoly power like that, they like, well, it's kind of tautological, but they can literally just buy out anybody that's like, hey, what if we did the same thing? They're like, nope, you're ours now. How would you like this gigantic, impossibly large sum of money, which for us is a small price to pay for continued control over this part of the economy? But then, of course, because the motivation for companies like this is profit and growth, and to grow those profits, that necessarily leads to monopoly and then enshittification. Potentially monopoly and enshittification, either in whatever order or at the same time, because it's like, eventually you can't provide anything better to make people spend more money on improving their lives, so you have to force people to spend more money for the same quality of life, which means making the thing that they're spending money on worse, less accessible, etc. Gotta be able to enjoy Trump bullying all more than us, but it seems this is going to be the point. It'll be much more of an our problem as well. Yeah, a lot of the political problems, that the United States is suffering from, Europe is not going to be far behind in experiencing these same things, because the same, like, well, I've said this before, the same trends exist, the same incentive structures, broadly speaking, exist. Yeah, we live on the same planet. We live under the same, more or less the same globalized economic system. So if something comes to a head in the United States, it's likely Europe will at some point face the same issue or have to grapple with the same issue. The all secret to happiness. Housing first and a socially reformative prison system, I imagine, are big parts of it. Also, they love their saunas. And, you know, I don't blame them. Saunas are nice. Just don't stay in there for too long. I am gonna go... Wait. $3.5 million saunas? Bro, that's like one sauna. That's more than one sauna per 2 people, which is hilarious. Sure. Oh, trade Pikachu for Heracross? Bye-bye, Pikachu. I'm getting a Heracross this early? That's insane. We claim Santa Claus with which no other country does? What? I don't think that's true. Saint Nicholas was a real guy and he was Greek. And Sinterklaas is like a German thing. So I feel like that's... Greece claims Santa Claus because Nicholas of... not Nice. It was somewhere else. And then, like, Turkey, I think, has some, like, claim because he's like, oh, he was Greek, but he lived in Anatolia. And then, obviously, the Germans claim Santa Claus because Mr. Jolly, red-clad guy, ho ho ho, is like, that's a German depiction of that. That's true. You know what? We're bringing back... Oh! I just remembered something. I was making a War on Christmas joke. We are bringing back the War on Christmas. Santa does have weapons of mass destruction. We must invade Finland immediately to prevent him from using these weapons, these WMDs, on his own population and on neighboring states. Thank you. Bring up that War on Christmas bit, which Sam Cedar got banned from CNN for 16 years over, by the way, reminded me of, like, it is partially that. Santa Claus versus McDonald's, right? But Fox News has entered the War on Christmas on the side of fuck Christmas, actually. I know that they said, like, oh yeah, to save money this Christmas, don't buy presents for grandma. They also said, like, because there are now data centers that are potentially going to be built on land that was used for Christmas tree farming, they said, get on board with the data centers. Fuck the Christmas tree farms. Buy a fake tree for Christmas. The world must bow to the interests of data centers. They didn't say that, like, directly, but they did say, get on board, just buy a fake tree for Christmas. We need to build these data centers. Conscription is an issue, but I don't support conscription. I don't like the state or military. Santa Claus. Well, the Santa Claus comes from Sinterklaas. That is still insane to me, by the way, that the Netherlands has, like, Santa Claus blackface. That's insane. It's not a hot take ever to say conscription is bad. Yeah. You know, a lot of, from what I've heard about conscription in Europe, a lot of the stated motivations from like political parties, leaders, and some such, is that like, oh, we need to build up our military to contain the threat of Russia and Russian expansionism, which is kind of a load of shit on a couple of different fronts. Number one, on three fronts, I'll say. Number one, Russia is currently like in a stalemate with Ukraine, just Ukraine. So like, it's like that's not really a threat. Russia's military is, you know, not really a threat to all of NATO. You want to beef up the training exercises, sure, but like mass mobilization is not like the correct response on that front. On a second front, if Russia actually went to war with NATO, everybody would just nuke everybody and that'd be the end of the world. Not happening, right? Then on the third front, if you're serious about addressing the threat that Russia poses to Europe and Russia advancing its interests in a specifically oppositional way to Europe, the thing that you would need to do is normalize economic relationships with Russia, use that as like bargaining chip to get them to like stop being so belligerent to countries next to them, and for the fuck's sake, reverse the shit that the West did to Europe during the shock doctrine days. You know, a lot of the reason that Russia fell into this far-right reactionism so hard, so early, is because they had the prerequisite dire economic circumstances before everybody else, like a lot of other countries in Europe and the West did. And that's because at the fall of the Soviet Union, Russia was in like a very politically and economically vulnerable spot. And the prevailing neoliberal economists and political figures of the time decided to push it into the ground even harder instead of rebuilding. A lot of Russian industry, which did exist, it had an economic base, was just split up and sold off to private actors, which hyper accelerated income inequality and the worsening poverty in the post-Soviet, like the early post-Soviet days of Russia. And Russia has truly never recovered from that. That's why Putin has had so much success staying in office, purely off of a revanchist narrative against the West for what happened to Russia after the fall of the Soviet Union. You know? Sorry, Europe, I suddenly have every single disease known to mankind. Guess I won't join the army. Yeah, I can't see like, I can't see any sort of like big conscription move happening right away. Because even like the Warhawk political leaders know that it would be suicide. Yeah. What are you going to tell me about mega evolution? Yeah, countries that border Russia have very high rates of military defensism among the population. Like people that say, yes, I would fight for the country, you know, because Russia's breathing down their neck. What kind of Pokemon she got? You never look at Mega Evolution the same way after reading Pokedex entry for Sun and Moon. Is that the entry where it's like, yeah, it actually makes them really tired and takes a big toll on them? Because that's kind of fucked up. I do remember learning about that. use the... Okay. Yeah. Do whatever with that info. I mean, it makes sense. Oh, Mareep can evolve now. Yes. Oh, she heals you up. Okay, great. Oh yeah, she's gonna show off Mega Ampharos. Ampharos is such a cool Pokemon. Big fan. Would y'all dare to join the army? I would not. Yeah, it actually, like, it hurts it. Don't do that. Wow, amazing. Rather die than join an army? I wouldn't go that far. If it was between that and death, I'd do it. But I have the option to not, so I won't. Even if I theoretically didn't have the option to not join the army, I'd figure a way to not. Gonna die regardless, might as well kamikaze. I mean, maybe. Critically, the United States has actually been able to maintain a very large volunteer-only military because in America, college costs hella money, and if you join the military, you get to go to college for free. Like, America does not conscript soldiers. We just make everybody else's life prohibitively expensive. Shit, even people in the military are not paid well. Like, if you're a service member, you don't get paid that much. Sure, if you're brass, you get paid pretty nice, I guess, but, you know. Okay, then Japan, many such cases. You have more power, you have more power. Yeah, true. Doesn't Japan barely tell their students about the horrible things they did in the war? Yeah, they don't teach people about that in Japan. Honestly, America does that too, to an extent. Is war ever good? No. No, it is not. I don't get that point. It's always like, that narrative always prevails among people who are the furthest from the war. Like, if you're evil and you are part of the capital class and your material interest would benefit from going to war with a certain country, let's say you're a defense contractor, right? You benefit from the war in Ukraine being dragged out as long as possible. War is good for you in that circumstance where you make a lot of money through no bid contracts with the government, and you don't care that like millions of people die in wars usually. Outside of being profoundly evil and like part of the deep state cabal or whatever that owns everything and runs society, no, war is never good. This person trying to be Armstrong? They better not be. I'm a better Armstrong than anybody, probably. Don't let Armstrong hear me say that. I don't think capital is the reason, but your view explains it. No, that is it. That is the reason. It's control over resources. And capital is just another way to say, resources insofar as they translate to wealth and power in an abstracted sense. And fundamentally, the military-industrial complex is an arm of capital, right? The Pentagon, though it is a government institution, benefits immensely from and benefits immensely the private industry that engages in the manufacturing of tools of war. You always come back to brass tacks, right? Fundamentally what I'm doing is like, I'm not like trying to revolution post or whatever, but what I'm doing is explaining the incentives that people in power with the decision-making power have to do certain things with respect to like going to war. You think the average American soldier goes to war in Iraq for capital? I get the politician views. Yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the military-industrial complex as an arm of capital. Capital is defined by the people who own capital, right? Soldiers are not capital. They're just people who are part of that meat grinder, right? Soldiers don't believe they're going to war to beef up somebody's portfolio or fatten the margins of somebody's bottom line. Obviously not. Nationalism is the ideology that is manufactured to justify going to war when war actually serves those material ends, right? Russia, to give a modern day example, Russia wants the Chernozem. They want Black Sea access. They want real estate for that pipeline, natural gas pipeline. All of these are the interests of the ruling class and the owning class in Russia, right? Realpolitik, material incentives. War would be good for them. But they know that they can't just tell people, yeah, go to war with Ukraine so we get to own all this Chernozem and like have Black Sea access to make all this money for our companies, right? Because people know like you're just going to keep all that money. Like we don't benefit from any of that. So what they have to do is manufacture a revanchist nationalist narrative to say like, this is why we are going to war in Ukraine. You should want to go to war in Ukraine because glorious restoration of Russia, right? That's the manufacturing of consent for the interests of the capital class. In the instance of Iraq, for example, America wanted more direct control over the region to replace Saddam Hussein, since he wasn't exactly being obsequious to us, even though he was our puppet dictator to begin with. And the United States wanted control over the oil fields and better access to those sorts of Middle Eastern markets. All of that is the real reason that America went to war in Iraq, right? And also to satiate the war hawks in Congress, right? But that's not what they told the American people, obviously. What they told the American people was, oh, Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. They were lying, and that was pretty obvious even at the time. But the newspapers all went along with it to manufacture consent so that people were like, okay, I guess we do have to go to war in Iraq. And that way they were like, all right, great. We get to go to war in Iraq. We get to, grab the bag and run and, fuck up Iraq for fucking forever. And our military contractors get a good cut from it. The United States sunk, I think, tens of trillions of dollars into Iraq and Afghanistan. Certainly Afghanistan, we have a number that I think the United States spent about $20 trillion on Afghanistan. A lot of that money went through the Pentagon and to defense contractors. That money went from people's pockets to taxes to the military-industrial complex. Sheep is tapping their paw and saying, can I please evolve? Oh, yes, Reap, of course. My glorious king. Evolve into Flaffy. So war occurs to serve the interests of the ruling class, whether it is the capitalists and like oligarchs today, or whether it was like royal families and feudal lords hundreds or thousands of years ago, right? You can see evidence of this even in the historical record with like archaeological material, where a lot of colonial era codexes will talk about like, oh yeah, this war with such and such ethnic group with such and such empire. They like this empire wanted to absorb these lands because that meant like more people to do labor for the state, or like more resources to make funny trinkets for the ruling family or whatever. And so they had to sort of gin up some sort of support among the populace. You know? Anyways, I've waxed poetic about that for long enough. Which middle evolution looks the most like ugly puberty face? Like, which second evolution is the most awkward? I think Croconaw is a good contender. Croconaw looks really goofy. Oops. Anyways, I'm going to raid Aoife. Aoife B is live. Oh, also, a good bit of news for people who love emotes, professional emote enjoyers. No, I wanted more Pokemon. Well, I gotta go. I got other shit to do today. I got Christmas cards to write. I have appointments to make. No, you don't. Yes, I fucking do. Jesus. Good news for all. I'll do them for you. Thank you. That's very thoughtful. Good news for all professional emote enjoyers. I double checked the Nightbot TV rules. Text spam is like will get you auto timed out. So if you send the same exact message on repeat, but emote spam is perfectly fine. So put all the emotes you want in chat. Disagree with socialism, but do not go Bolshevism and invade us in Finland. Well, hopefully I can convince you of the socialism part eventually, because I would argue that it's like antithetical to the part where you invade the other country and like do the national revanchism shit. Like that, the invading Finland part was pretty dumb and bad and stupid and bad. Anyways, enjoy Aoife B. I will be back because today's Wednesday. It's my last streaming day this week. I'll be back on Monday, I think, with presumably just talking about like politics and stuff, and then maybe playing more Pokemon. See y'all later.